back in the history of medicine and up to now, what have been the traditional methods to treat depression, PTSD, and other mental health conditions? And what are the benefits and the challenges with the traditional methods and with the typical psychedelic therapy process?
So traditionally, there have been behavioral approaches, like cognitive behavioral therapy, psychotherapy, various kinds that involve interactions between a therapist and a client or a patient. And that is an approach that's proven to be valuable. And then there are drug treatments like SSRIs, and basically ways of trying to influence serotonin levels in the brain and other kinds of neurotransmitters that have also proven to be helpful for some people. The issue is that there are still people who aren't helped by these options, and also we don't fully understand how these treatments work. So there are questions left unanswered, and ultimately we haven't really made leaps and bounds in our understanding or in the development of treatments for decades at this point, as far as really qualitative steps forward. So that's where psychedelic therapy, or therapy with psychedelic assisted therapies that involve treatments like psilocybin, MDMA, ketamine, these are emerging as very promising ways to address these mental health challenges.
Sorry, what are those you mentioned? The three of them? Are they drugs, or are there methods? And
those are drugs that are being used quite commonly and that are emerging as quite likely uses of these kinds of medicines in order to help with mental health. And there are clinics popping up all around the world with the ability to deliver ketamine to help people with depression and other kinds of issues, psilocybin for treating end-of-life anxiety. People with a terminal illness will benefit from treatment with psilocybin. It looks like there's evidence for that. Psilocybin for treating different kinds of addiction. It's even been found to be quite helpful for people with nicotine addiction, which is one of the most difficult to overcome. So several different issues in mental health seem to be addressed by one or more of these drugs that are available.
So where does music's role fit in therapy? Like, can you tell us a little bit back in the history and what's going on?
Sure. So music has been used ubiquitously with these kinds of treatments. It was used intuitively, but also consciously by researchers that are employing psychedelic therapies. And you can understand why, because it basically helps with the setting. So there are these elements that help to make these kinds of therapies particularly effective. The set and the setting, the set being the intentions, the mental state of the patient, the setting being all of the environmental variables. And psilocybin, for example, basically creates more entropy in the brain. It enables connections that aren't usually possible to occur in the brain, and that creates this potential for neuroplasticity, openness to new experience, change in the way the brain works, hopefully in a positive way. So being there's all this kind of new chaos, you could say, in the brain, or entropy, having some structure that's very positive and supportive in the environment, which you can control, is helpful. And music is a wonderful way to do this. A lot of these therapies involve having your eyes closed. So either with some kind of mask or even with just the eyes closed. And so visuals aren't the ideal way to control or provide structure. Also, there's a lot of inner imagination and imagery that's going on. So whereas with music, this is something that the person is experiencing continuously. They will hear this even if they're not paying attention to it. It's a very helpful way to influence mood and to create calm or to support different emotional states. So that's really where music is very powerful. It has the potential to affect implicitly without conscious focus, and also to support different kinds of emotion for the person as they're undergoing this kind of therapy.
Sorry, we really have to stop. Sorry.
Oh, sure.
Ursäkta, jag spelar in. Kan du vänta en 30 minuter innan? Kan du vänta lite för... Tack. Oh, what a bad place, huh? Sorry, I really don't like this. He started vacuuming. Like, hello. Did you hear the vacuum?
No, I didn't on my end. Yeah.
I'm like, sorry, I really wanted to throw like everything, but I'm like, no, I rather stop it right now. No worry, I can cut it. It's okay. I haven't done it before, but I'm sure it's okay. Let's, wow. 1, 2, 3. Your company mentioned something about no magical pill. What do you guys mean by that? And why is a setting in the music design essential for a successful outcome in the therapy?
Well, so building on what we were just talking about, music has a great potential to help, but how to use music is still a question mark. And certainly there are some practices that have been developed. A lot of people use playlists, classical music, other kinds of music that they really enjoy. But as far as what the best parameters are for delivering just the right music for this participant, this patient or client, that is yet to be determined through research. And it's clear from all of this work that's been happening in clinical settings and also research settings that not everyone benefits from the same music. So that is really what that means. It's not a magic pill, in that it, at least the music, at least in terms of how the music is involved, it's not certain to work. The same kind of music won't work for everyone. As you can imagine, people have varying interests in music, varying tastes, and also in different states of mind. We might like certain music more than others. If you change your state of mind, you might prefer other music. So how do you tailor the music to the person in the moment? That's really the clinical and scientific challenge here.
I've actually met some people that say that they don't even like music. And for me, it's very interesting to hear that, because there's so many different dimensions of music. It doesn't really have to be with lyrics or popular. It can also be sound. Like I was in India for a yoga retreat, and then they have these, what they call it, there's a bowl sound. I mean, that is also extremely healing, and I love listening to it. It's something happens in my body, so it's really interesting to understand what is it about sound that they don't like. But at the same time, I sometimes say that silence is better than having a lot of noise.